Welcome, everybody, to the Limit Breakdown, where we review TV shows, movies, and everything in entertainment. I'm your host, Sid.
And Migs.
And with our special guest, our friend, Brandon.
What's up?
Today, we're going to be reviewing The Boys Season 3 on Amazon Prime. Our overall too long didn't watch was 4.5 hearts. That means it's really, really good. You guys should definitely check it out if you haven't. Go back and watch the previous seasons if you haven't even watched that one yet. But stick around after the intro for our deep dive review.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Limit Breakdown. Today we're going to be discussing The Boys Season 3. We all had high opinions of the show, so let's go ahead and roll right into it. We're going to break it down by character, talking about their story arcs. So let's go ahead and get it going, man. Take us off, Sid.
So I'm going to talk about the big boy himself, Homelander. I thought the season overall was phenomenal. I think it was really good, really well written. I think Homelander's story in this show was really good because you could see that he's starting to crack at the seams at the beginning of the episode, beginning of the series. Yeah. Starlight's like fandom and stardom is getting to him because that's all he cares about. He's like, basically a big man-child. And later on, as the season progresses, you can see the cracks kind of coming through. He's getting a little bit more aggressive. He's not caring. And when he finally breaks, people embrace him, and he's like, I should have done this from the start.
Yep.
And then you can see him just basically go off the rail from there. The guy the actor, Anthony Starr, phenomenal job. I think he does a great job. As much as I hate overly righteous villains and characters, he does such a good job that I genuinely like this villain.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say, is that as diabolical as Homelander is, and as easy to hate as he is, I truly freaking enjoyed him this season. Like, the nuances of his performance were so, like, him rolling his eyes and him smirking, like, it was so funny. Like, he literally, he performed, and it was great. Like, he was one of my favorite parts. And it was crazy because maybe it was set up this way, but I actually didn't like Butcher as much this time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
And like, I was just like, yo, why do I like Homelander? But
I find, particularly with Homelander, let me backtrack a little bit. I've always found villains with compelling stories to be much more interesting than heroes. A deviation of Homelander from on the show and from Homelander from the comics is that they have given him so much more humanity that he didn't have in his comic book counterpart. I think the fact that they've positioned him as really more of a broken man. Yeah. Right? And like, you see, like, there was one scene where he's talking to himself in the mirror and he's basically like hyping himself up. And when he came to that realization, because, at the end of season 2, they were basically blackmailing him with that tape, and they're like, hey, we know all you care about is publicity. We care, you care about people loving you. If we release this, then everybody's going to hate you, and, whatever. So we got you under our thumb. So everybody was so overconfident that they had him. And then when he finally came to the realization, it's like, I would like to be loved, but I'll settle for being feared.
And
it
wasn't a quick thing. Like, that tape had less and less steam as we move forward to where he was coming more into like, yo, I should have just been me from the jump. You know what I mean?
I think that character story was phenomenal. Most other TV shows, movies, wherever they have a character, if there's I have an issue. So this is one of my plot issues that I have in general, not this show, is when there's a clear solution and then just to add drama or something, they add like something random in there, like the writers specifically, they add something right in there. They'll add like a character in there just to add drama. I hate it when there's a clear solution. But I think for this one, it makes sense, and they pulled it off extremely well. He could have just been like, oh, I understand that I'm a mess up, think XYZ things, forgive me. But they're like, nah. He's like, no, I'm just going to continue being me. But it plays off so well in this show, and that's one of the reasons I think this particular arc, or this season, and Homelander did a great job.
Moving on to Homelander's counterpart, Starlight. Her story arc was particularly interesting as well because it was her also finding her confidence. Mm-hmm. She, after Homelander kind of snapped out of it and was like, yeah, y'all can't really do nothing anyway. She fell into this position where she felt like she had no choice but to do everything Homelander wanted. She felt she had no power. She felt she had no efficacy whatsoever. And to see her by the end of the season kind of reclaim her own autonomy and reclaim her own power was pretty awesome. Also, her relationship with Huey.
And also to see how far back that went. Mm-hmm. Back to her being a child and her mom pushing her to do
of course.
all these performances and everything. Like the whole clenching fist thing that they kind of did back and forth. Like, totally.
I agree. And then I think one of the things that during the first two seasons, they always talk about that her character always kind of pulled back. She was the nice girl. She, she wants to do the right thing, but she, always like, oh, I'll help you. She cares, doesn't cuss as much. But as season 3 goes on, she's like, I don't really even care anymore. Yeah. And she's losing her, physically throwing away the Starlight outfit, saying, I'm done being the model of everybody else. I want to be my own model. I want to be me, not Starlight per se. And coming back to what you said, her mom pushing her to be that one type of person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's like, no.
And I also really appreciated, to a certain degree, she kind of took over a little bit of Huey's naivete. And in the essence that, everybody was trying to push her into that, man, you got to fight fire with fire. You got to do dirty with dirt. Yeah. And she's just like, no, like I'm going to do things the way that I feel is correct, even if it may not be, the most effective best, in the moment. But she's like, I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror. Yeah. And it was a good juxtaposition to Butcher's character, where it's like, showing the backdrop of him and his relationship with his father and his brother, and yeah. That was the whole thing, but like you really understood that like Butcher's entire thing, was motivated by vengeance, but it's also motivated by self-loathing.
Yeah, I think it was self-loathing, vengeance, and more of like I want to say it as sort of like what's the word I'm looking for, retribution type thing, where he's like, this happened to me. I want to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else, but I'm going to do the same actions that my father did to get it done. Yeah. He said there's only one way to get it done. This is the way. Yeah. But I wanted the world to be better. And as you saw later in the season, even he gets over that. He kind of looks at Huey and he's like, you shouldn't do this. Right, I
think that was a big theme across this whole season, was kind of like daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? Soldier Boy to Homelander to Ryan, Butcher to Huey. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? MM and him punching out the other dude in front of his daughter. I think the whole daddy issue fatherhood thing was a big part of it.
Everything just connected. Yeah, right, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Right? I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need a moment.
Yeah, no, definitely, and just him early on in the season when he basically rejected Ryan, that literally pushed him into the arms of Homelander and led to that super cringy scene at the end.
Oh, yeah. I genuinely wanted to punch Ryan in the face. Now I know I can't. I'm gonna break my hand, but the scene when Ryan accepts Homelander as his father. And then at the end, when Homelander kills the dude, and then they're like, "Yeah, it's cool. You can kill people. It's fine." One,
just seen
super
the
cringe.
warmth in Ryan, like,
and Ryan does that slow smile, and I'm like,
It's like, yo, this is cool,
Yeah, like,
He's
right, bad.
Oh
Say
my
less.
god! I wanted to punch him in the face so bad.
But it also, like, it was so stupid on Butcher's part because, like, this kid is begging for affection.
Yeah,
begging
100%.
for acceptance, and he's just like, I could never love you for what you did, even if there's a grain of truth to that. Like, man.
Yeah.
But again, daddy issues.
Yeah.
Like, Butcher can't recognize that. Like, in him, even if it's subtly rejecting Ryan, he's not keeping his promise to Becca.
Yeah, I mean, it's
you know what I'm saying?
It's the sins of the father.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But Butcher, I think overall Butcher's arc was good, but I think that was one definitely a pitfall that is now going to bite him going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So the other person who I think, to me, had the second best story arc, Huey. I think Huey's arc in the show was really well, and I think they explained it phenomenally, especially when him and Starlight are naked in the... When he teleports them and they're naked in the car.
The fact that his clothes disappeared every time, or he teleported out of his clothes.
It's the funniest
hilarious.
thing. I thought it was so funny. And then when they did it and then she does it too, I was like, oh. Anyways, minor details. But when he's like, I feel like I want to protect you, he has always felt the weaker person.
Absolutely.
He's like, even in the boys, he's like, I'm the weaker one. I never get anything done. I'm just there. And even in our relationship, I'm just there. And he's like, I want to feel important. I want to feel needed, which in all honesty is a very valuable thing to say. You know,
no, I mean, it's a very human emotion.
Yeah, and any relationship you have, you want to feel important, you want to feel it. Even if they say, you want to feel it. And once he explains that, I was like, that makes more... Because the whole season, I thought he was just being an idiot. But once they explained, I was like, that makes more sense. So I thought his arc of that, and then finally giving the self-discipline at the very end not to take the last of the temp V, I think was really clever.
Yeah, I think that he was introduced that way though. You know what I'm saying? Back in season 1 when Butcher had to save him from translucent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He always had
A-Train
to
ran through his girl. Like Huey has been set up to pretty much be powerless. You know what I mean? So for him to actually literally get powers, you know what I mean, and to give him some value, I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely relatable and understandable with that motivation. And like you said, towards the end, when instead of taking the temp V, he chose to find a way to amplify literally Starlight's powers,
which I thought was actually pretty cool.
And that was actually dope because it showed his value there.
Yeah.
Like, you may not have been in the fight,
but you were in the fight.
You know what I mean? And it was just
support.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a support character. Yeah.
Speaking of A-Train,
I was waiting for this one.
So speaking of A-Train,
my man's been going through it, bro.
Oh man,
my man's been going through it.
You know,
he ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, neither.
Well, the whole situation with him, just kind of basically being a corporate pawn and a corporate tool, and then losing his, really not really being able to recover physically from the events of the season 2, and 2 basically is like, hey, if I run one more time, I'm gonna, pass out, and then the situation with his brother. What was it, Blue something?
Blue Hawk.
Blue Hawk, yeah. Not gonna talk about Blue Hawk too much, but he was definitely a parallel to the way certain
state of current being, current time.
So it was really interesting, or kind of tragic that he's trying to take the easy way out, right? He's trying to get just kind of like a good publicity moment, and it ends up costing his brother the use of his legs.
Yeah.
And then he didn't really care about everything that was going on in that community and the things that Blue Hawk was doing because it wasn't directly affecting him. And now that it finally hit him close to home with his brother literally being the one affected, his reaction and that kill shot of him dragging Blue Hawk.
Oof, that was really good.
Nasty.
Yeah, I think so. That I was gonna say, I think he actually had a great story arc, one of the best ones. In all the previous, I seasons. God, I can't say the word. Previous season, you see A-Train just not caring about anything at all, ever.
Not even his brother.
Yeah, not even his brother.
His brother was trying to, hey, bro, you don't need to do that. Let's just train.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And then now you see him. He tried to do the whole Africa origins thing, and they're like, "Yeah, that ain't gonna work." But then later on, he's like, "Well, I want to actually do something good," like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And when it actually hits home to him, he's like, "I actually want to do something good." Mm-hmm. So his mindset of what a hero is also changing, right? And I think it was fantastic. Actually, it gives a very, very accurate description of what like actual drug addicts go through, like because they're like, look, even the ones that want to recover, they're like, we want to recover, we just can't. People see us in certain lights. I want to recover, but I can't for XYZ reasons. Whether self-discipline, you can't get help. And the way that this show explains him doing that, I think is great. Very ending of the show, obviously he gets his vengeance of killing Blue Hawk, but his brother is like, but you've messed everything else up already.
Right.
So it's like he's trying to do well, but it's still not good enough. And I think that shows a lot of growth for his part.
I think it's also growth and a little bit of regression too, because he killed Blue Hawk. Like his brother's reaction was basically like, yo, like, you're a murderer.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ask you to do this. And now, as a result of him murdering Blue Hawk, he now has a new heart that's able to take the strain on his body so he can go back to being that old A-Train. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see any progression or a regression with him.
Hold on. Did they put Blue Hawk's heart inside him?
Yes.
Oh! Wait, I didn't catch
that at all. You guys it wasn't until you just said it. Oh, wow, that makes way more sense now.
Yeah, you guys didn't catch that? Yeah,
no.
That just totally twisted
the
whole thing.
Even more so than it already was.
Yeah. They put Blue Hawk's heart in A-Train. That's why he can now run again.
I mean, I got the fact that they gave him a new heart. I just thought they just gave him a new heart. I didn't put it together that it was Blue Hawk.
Yeah, specifically Blue Hawks because he was a super.
Yo.
So, because like any regular heart wouldn't be able to take the...
Yeah.
Well, that just... the second...
Yeah. Put you there now.
Wow.
But what does that say, though, about his character, now that I know that, for him to pretty much take on the heart of Blue Hawk, of somebody who he would, you know what I'm saying? He literally murdered in trying to get his own, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, you would think that you would reject that, taking the heart of a racist suit.
Well, he didn't have a choice. Like,
that's right, because he was already passed out.
He basically had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Got you.
Like, because they told him, like, if you run at your speed again, you're gonna die. And he did.
I'm with you now. I'm with you, bro.
Yeah. So
fair.
Damn, bro, appreciate that. I didn't put that together. Bro.
Yeah, neither did I. I was like, what?
Moving on to his other counterpart in the 7, the Deep.
Yo, the Deep is just.
I'm gonna let you.
The Deep is just the Deep.
Look,
bro.
they took the whole Aquaman gag and just ran with it.
They did, bro. They totally did. Because it's funny that joke is still running in DC. Like, yo, Aquaman fucks fishes, and like literally.
I think I actually did like the Deep season 1, I think it was. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. And then from there, I never liked him.
I never really liked him, though.
I never liked him.
Weird.
He's totally cringe. He's just a cringe individual.
I thought this season that they're gonna kind of redeem him, but they made him into more... they made him more sleazy and like more just like a suck-up. Even with...
And it's just wild that he's sleazy to get no wins.
Yeah.
He's still a freaking loser. You're doing all this sleazy scumbag stuff and you still...
Nothing. Homelander himself was like, you are useless. And he's like, yes, sir, I will do what you want. I was like...
Bruh, Homelander big dick the Deep the whole goddamn season, bruh.
I don't know, so did the Octopus.
Yeah.
So no, so the Deep just keeps taking L after L. him having to eat the octopus in front of his wife, like
God, that was so bad.
We had talked about the dolphin situation, just like it's. I'm curious what they're gonna do with that character. I mean, again,
he's just sad.
He's totally sad.
He's just sad and like he just wants attention mainly from Homelander, and it's just I don't know. I thought that he's gonna get a redemption or something like.
I mean, wasn't the wife supposed to be his redemption?
Yes, and she was like, okay, stick up to him. You know, say this, try this, and
she was totally Homelander.
Yeah, and she's like.
Just, his wife, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Because didn't she run off on her own thing, like, after that? Like, didn't she...
She left.
She did the book about her escaping...
Yeah, she did.
She's like, in too deep.
Yeah.
Well, that scene was very cringy, too, when he tried to do the little threesome with the octopus.
He's like, I want to try with somebody spicy. He's like, oh, okay. This is whatever the hell the name was.
It's the gag that never ends.
What? Ugh.
But
I think honorable mention as far as characters, I really enjoyed Ashley and how much she ran parallel with Homelander, like losing her shit and her kind of like turning up on everybody as it went on. Like she was literally like Homelander number 2 when Homelander wasn't around. She became a menace. You know?
Yeah, she was like when she was picking her hair off, and she's like, "No, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then no." Oh man! And then the reveal at the end when they take off the wig and she's just bald. I was like,
speaking of side characters, what's his name? John Carlos Esposito's character.
Oh, is what Stan Edgar's or something?
Stan Edgar. Yeah. Stan Edgar.
Again, with the daddy issues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was kind of a father figure to Homelander in a sort.
I mean, he's a big actor, so I was kind of surprised that he had such a small role.
Man, he's in everything right now.
I think the role that he portrayed was actually really good. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he overstepped his boundaries as like a big actor. I think the role that he did was phenomenal. And the way he was I actually liked his character. Very cool, calm, like collected. Even when even when shit hit the fan, he's like he looked up to Homelander, knowing Homelander can like flick his finger, throw him. I thought that was what was gonna happen when he finally went to jail, but he came back, and he's like, this company's yours, but, do you think you can do this stuff? Mm-hmm. I was honestly expecting Homelander, like, flick him out of the top of the tower. But so there's a difference between physical power and power.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
What he had, and
yes,
I think he portrayed it really well. So I don't think that that character should have had any more. Because the less he's in it, the more power he shows.
I think he has EP credits too. Like, and he's like EP on like all the Marvel shit now too. So
I'm curious because they didn't kill his character off, so he's probably gonna come back next season. I would hope. Yeah. And then tying that into Black Noir and how
Newman too.
Yeah. Tying it into Black Noir and how he was involved in getting rid of Soldier Boy.
The Payback Squad.
Yeah, Payback. I genuinely liked Black Noir in the first 2 seasons.
Not so much this season.
Because I think the mystery of Black Noir went away. I totally
agree with you.
And because the mystery of him went away, it kind of took away from his character.
I agree.
And especially the way he died. I genuinely thought that him and Homelander had a good relationship.
But don't they kind of explore that in the cartoon? We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Yeah. They kind of explore that they really do have a solid brotherhood between them.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And then once...
Well, the main... That was actually the whole cause of Homelander killing him. Was you knew about Soldier Boy. Mm-hmm. You knew that he was...
Oh, so it was like a betrayal.
Yeah, it was a betrayal.
Ultimate betrayal.
Yeah. I understand Homelander's actions. I don't think that killing him, or at least killing him that manner, was right. I think they should have had at least some sort of fight or something, not just
give him like one final badassery moment.
Yeah, and then nothing. Yeah. He did not have any. Yeah, like I really.
Because there was really no fight back neither.
Well, yeah, I think ultimately what they were trying to convey with Black Noir is that his big issue was always that he was a coward.
Mm-hmm.
He was a coward at heart, and
Yeah.
like he could never stand up to Soldier Boy. He could, instead of taking him on head on, even if he
it
died.
literally just translates to
Yeah.
Homelander. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just instead of even going to Butcher and trying to be like, hey, let's take this on. He literally thought he could talk to a Homelander and be like, yo, let's take out Soldier Boy. Not realizing that Soldier Boy is basically everything Homelander's been searching for, everything he's wanted.
Yeah.
Which also ties into, like we were saying, daddy issues, when Soldier Boy was just like, you disgust me.
Facts.
And I really enjoyed Soldier Boy. What is it? Jason Ackles?
Mm-hmm.
Jensen or something?
Jensen Ackles. Yeah. I loved him in Supernatural.
Never seen it.
Me neither, bro. Give me some love.
It's very rare.
It's totally rare.
Most people are like, oh my god, Supernatural, and I'm lying.
Yes.
Okay, look, I'm going to admit, Supernatural is one of those shows that probably went on entirely too long.
Isn't it like 20 seasons?
12.
I've heard it actually was a good show.
I've heard that too.
I've never seen it.
The first 4 seasons are must watch. Like they are top tier TV. Like
word.
Yeah, word. Like watch the first.
I think I've seen the first few episodes, like 1 or 2 episodes, and I was like, okay, I can see what people like. But I just never.
But anyway, he's a fantastic actor in Supernatural. He did really good job portraying this pseudo Captain America.
Yeah.
I love that they played up like the subtle race or not so subtle racism. Yeah. But the whole
like, oh, that's a thing.
Like everything with him coming into the current time, like Cap wasn't as
overt.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing, what was it? It was like 2 dudes holding hands or 2 women, and he's like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was literally everything.
Yeah.
Everything about now he was disgusted with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and his refusal to accept that he had PTSD, and then basically him being such a giant douche that his entire team conspired to get him taken out.
Yeah.
I feel like they played that out a little too long. Like Soulja Boy was a dope character, but like I think them doing his story like as a slow burn, I was like, yo, bro, like not much happened. You know what I'm saying? To me.
It
was kind of just like, yo.
I thought it was gonna be a lot. I understand why they did it, but I agree. Like I think the ending main story was like, oh well, they did it because he's a jerk and they have a new superhero who's better.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's it.
Right.
I mean, I understand. I think they could have played that a little bit more.
I mean, to me, I thought it was obvious. Like as soon as they were revealing with Homelander's origin story of he was kind of basically produced in a lab or whatever. It's like, oh, well,
it was made in a petri dish.
Where did they get the template from? The Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
So, and that was one of those things. Like with Homelander, it's like the only reason Vought was still keeping him around is because they don't have another Homelander.
Yeah.
And so, whereas in unfortunately for Soldier Boy, Vought made a new Soldier Boy.
Yeah, true.
And this one can fly.
Right?
What did you say something about a bunch of useless powers or something? Was that in the cartoon too?
No, that was it was Diabolical.
Okay.
Yeah, so in The Boys Diabolical, they have an episode where Vought gives powers to babies, and some of the babies have like weird, stupid powers that make no sense. It's a really good short. I think it's only like 4 or 5 episodes, something like that. But it's really, there's one that is just people's powers make no sense.
So yeah, that solidifies the not having another Homelander.
Yeah.
If you're getting all these useless soups, you know what I'm saying, with dumb powers. Like,
it's a little bit of a sidebar, but I one thing I've always enjoyed about like some of the other superhero properties, the one that comes to mind for me, and this is My Hero Academia, with some of the heroes that have useless powers. And like one of my favorites is Lemillion, because the core of his power is weird because he just falls through objects.
Yeah.
But
his power actually makes no sense. Like,
but the way that he's able to utilize it, like he trains himself to where basically
to make it make sense.
He uses it as a way to like transport himself, and he uses the momentum of his fall to propel himself into
back up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when he does it, basically he loses his clothes because he can phase through anything, so that includes his clothes. Unlike Kitty Pryde and X-Men, when she phases through, her clothes are attached. Him, when he phases through it, like he gets naked, he has to. There's no other way. So his suit is made from his hair, so it doesn't do it.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Okay, cool. I like that.
Side quest.
Side quest, right?
Frenchy and Kimiko.
Oh man. So I loved the transition of them, particularly Kimiko, from being like, the powers are what made me this quote unquote monster, and then coming to the realization that
she was always a monster.
Well, it wasn't that she was a monster, but that she did what she had to do
to survive.
Yeah, and that was gonna be the case whether she had powers or not.
Yeah, I think her realization coming to that was really good, because she was like, I'm a monster, this XYZ, whatever. And then the whole time, Frenchy is just her rock. I think he's a great character. I genuinely love Frenchy. And he's just like, nah, dude, like, I got you. You do the crazy stuff, but we come back home together. I've done some bad stuff, but we come back home. And even when, what was the Russian lady's name?
Little Nina?
Yeah, Little Nina. When she captures them, and he's like, well, these are the things that he used to do. He used to be my monster. And he's like, yeah, I used to be a monster. And then she does that to him.
Yeah.
She's like, you're not that person anymore. You do whatever you need to come back. And I think
that was a really good juxtaposition.
That parallel that they draw for each other was perfect. And then at the end, they come to like a agreement type where they're like, we do what we do to survive, to get what's done, but that doesn't define us. And after this, we're done.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about Herogasm.
This part of the episode is going to be rated R, so if you are under R rating, come back to us in a few years when you're old enough.
Yo, MM getting the money shot.
Like that was your first thing you gotta say about Herogasm, bro. You see my man's jacket though? That jacket was clean, man. Bro. I was upset about that, bro.
So speaking of useless powers, when they open the door and just a giant penis just wraps around.
That's Love Sausage.
Yeah, that was the dude. He was locked up in the last season.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was hilarious. Herogasm from the comic and here, the actual TV show toned it down a lot because they added a lot more story content to it. In the actual comics, it's like 5 or 6 panels of just
debauchery,
just anything that's
in the comics, isn't it like something that's sponsored by Vought? Like it's like an official...
because basically.
But remember in season 1 they had the Vought Club where it was kind of like a mini Herogasm. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, in the comics it's sponsored by this. Like you need a break, and they just all the soups go to this island and just do everything that moves. Basically,
it was just funny though. Starlight walking up to the building and them thinking they're gonna need like some type of cover story, and Love Sausage opens the door and he's just like, "Oh, Starlight, you're here. Come on in."
Yeah,
it was very, very interesting.
And of course, Huey teleporting in naked, not place at all.
He's like, "Oh well, I guess so." Oh man, I did. So Herogasm actually had a lot of things that were very important. One, A-Train apologizing to Huey officially, and he's like, "God, I just want to punch you," and he's, like when you really want to.
It was sincere though.
Yeah, it was sincere.
I did not expect that going into the scene.
Yep.
I thought it was gonna be A-Train being A-Train.
Yep.
But for him to actually be genuine, I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah.
Here we go. Because now it's on Huey at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's the balls in your court, bro. What you doing? Like this man is pouring his heart out, looking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? You gonna hold that grudge? You gonna let it go?
He punched him, which I understand. I would have done the same thing, but that was very important. Obviously, the end of Herogasm, huge. We already talked about A-Train killing Blue Knight.
Blue Hawk.
The 3-way fight between Soldier Boy first time seeing Homelander first time seeing Soldier Boy. Their fight. Then Butcher comes in. He's got powers.
That was the first time Homelander that was the first time Homelander seeing Butcher use powers, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
bet. Then Huey comes in, and then he has powers, and he's like, what the hell is going on?
Again, going back to Homelander's nuance of performance. Like his face is like when he's seen Butcher do the laser thing, he's like, bro,
he's like,
what?
Wait, what?
And then when Huey comes in, he's like, yo, what the fuck is going on,
and
bro?
they almost beat him. They almost.
He ran scared.
Yeah,
he did, bro.
He literally went boom, boom. He went out. He's like, they almost beat him, and I think from a fight perspective, it was great. The whole fight was exactly how we wanted it to be. Homelander, and I love this, like, right before the dialogue between them, he's like, I'm the new you, and he's like, no one can be the me, and he's like, I'm the upgrade. Mm-hmm. And then they go in. I think that whole scene was awesome.
I don't know if it was just my perception, but Soulja Boy came off as a better fighter.
I mean, he
was
wars
trained.
though, right?
Yeah, he was trained.
Literally, he's fought before.
Like he actually knows how to fight. He was trained. Homelander is just
sheltered
strong.
as shit.
Yeah. He was just sheltered and strong.
Yeah.
So that was the difference. That's why he also got overpowered.
Yeah.
And obviously ending that with Starlight giving up, be like, I'm done with everything. Yeah. I don't want to do this anymore.
Was that also the episode where she asked Huey not to continue with the mission or whatever?
Yes,
and he was like, nah.
that's when they had teleported away naked and they had that conversation that we talked about early in the series.
Almost forgot. I'm gonna butcher this name. Maeve.
Oh,
Maeve.
Queen Maeve. Yeah.
I think this season was all about people's story arcs.
Yeah.
And their redemption. Maeve's also awesome. She went.
You know what I thought was dope about Maeve, bro, is we got to see how strong she really was. Because for her to be able to go toe to toe with Homelander, and like literally toe to toe, like we know she can't beat him, but she can rumble with that.
Yeah,
dude,
and he himself was like, you can't do this, and she's like, bro, I've been waiting for this. And she has been. So they mentioned that she has been training again. She knows how to fight, and I thought that arc of hers was awesome. I generally like the character. I like the actress, and her finally understanding that Vought is crap, Homelander is crap. We gotta tear this down, and she becoming friends with Starlight.
I think she always knew though.
She knew, but she didn't care.
I think she didn't have a way out before.
She also didn't care.
Yeah.
But now she's like, I'm done. I want to do this. And then she becomes friends with Starlight officially and was like, let's take this down.
I think, and this is a little bit of personal experience, but like, let's take it to this. When coming out of high school, when I enlisted in the Navy, right, I had a very idealistic perception of what military service was and what it was supposed to be. And so when you get out there and you actually see what's going on and you actually see the mundane day-to-day things, by the time that it was all said and done, although I'm still very proud of my military service, it's not what everybody paints it to be. And so I think with Queen Maeve, it was very much, she might have had those idealistic standards,
like a glorified,
of like what a hero is supposed to be. And then the more she spent time in the Seven, the more she was exposed to what the Vought machine had created and what it actually was. It just completely soiled her. And then came Starlight, somebody had that same idealism, but in her case, she didn't allow the system to defeat her, and she's standing by her principles and standing by her guns, and that kind of, I guess, emboldened her to do the same.
Yeah, I can see that. I agree.
The one thing that I had a problem with, and I mean I kind of understand it, but I thought it would have been a great bookend to her character to have her die during the explosion at the end with Soulja Boy. The fact that they pulled on that and that they, it was like, oh, she's still alive and she's going to be,
Warrior's Dead.
Going up.
But she doesn't have her powers anymore. Huh? She doesn't have her powers anymore.
Yeah, she
so
doesn't.
Her powers did get stripped.
Do we think that she's going to get her powers back? Because you got to think, we got Temp V now. It can always be and she's proven that she can go to toe with Homelander.
Yeah,
there may become a situation where she has to temporarily get her powers.
I mean, if Queen Maeve is alive, then who's to say that Soulja Boy's not alive?
Oh, Soulja Boy's definitely alive.
Wait, did Stormfront die?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she bit her
tongue. Yeah. Because Homelander was doing that weird.
No, Soldier Boy is alive. The shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's getting the Winter Soldier treatment.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. They froze him over. Yeah. I think there's only one person to talk about left. That's Mother's Milk. I think his arc in this wasn't as strong compared to the others. It was a
great character.
It was a great. He's
such a grounding force for the team.
Yeah.
And they need
I think Huey is their... Well, usually Huey is their grounding force. I think in this season, it was I think his story arc was good. It just wasn't as good as the others. I think the only thing that he had was they showed more of his family side. Of his being like, hey, I want to take care of my daughter. Yeah. I want to punch the stepdad in the face. But,
they never shied away from him. He's always been a family guy, bro. And
I think they showed him more.
Yeah, and we knew that he was beefing with Soldier Boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then for him to find out that Soldier Boy's still alive and Soldier Boy's the weapon to kill Homelander. Now you in this gray area. You know what I'm saying? Well, it wasn't a gray area for him because he was still like, yo,
on site.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro.
Target locked.
Yeah. But still, I enjoy him. I think he has a great presence too.
Yeah,
just as an actor.
I mean, his dynamic with Butcher too. Butcher telling him like, he's the grounding force to the team.
It's kind of like a Homelander noir.
Yeah,
but
at the same time, like he genuinely felt betrayed by Butcher, and to a certain degree, he's kind of just kind of disgusted by the lengths that Butcher is going to.
I mean, it was a betrayal.
I think a lot of the characters...
It was just Butcher prioritizing his ultimate goal over, you know what I'm saying? And, as a leader, that's not what we're used to seeing. Yeah. Like, we want you to take the whole team into consideration, you know what I'm saying? He's like, nah, bro.
And I think...
Fuck that noise, you know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of the other characters felt that in this particular season. They're like, all right, like I said, Frenchy and Kimiko had that same conversation with each other.
Yes.
Huey and Starlight were like, he needs to do certain things. I think Butcher himself came to that realization, but he just doesn't want to say it. So I think everybody feels that, all right, Butcher is... We understand he's the leader, and there's a... I think, what's his name? MMX explained it perfectly. He's like, I respect a hierarchy. I forget the exact quote. He's like, I respect a hierarchy. I respect authority. But you don't do that, right? Yeah. You respect your team.
Yeah.
And I think this season definitely shows that power struggle between everybody. So,
overall, getting into final thoughts for the season, I love the storytelling that we've gotten over here. As complex as some of these characters are, like they haven't. That's one of the things that I love about this particular show is that they don't shy away from having complex characters. And it's such, we're so, especially in superhero genres, you're used to very defined archetypes, the hero, the villain,
absolutely.
And like the fact that even in somebody as despicable as Homelander, that they were able to, there were moments where I empathized with Homelander.
Like, I don't think any of the writing thus far has been sloppy. Like, the boys has been tight-knit all the way through.
Now that you mentioned, there was a scene where Homelander, and I think even at one point, Soldier Boy said it, he's like, I needed a father figure. I needed somebody to be there. And then even Soldier Boy, like I said, was like, he's like, I wish I was there as a father to help you because of what kind of person you become. And it's just like, kind of like that Vought's fault, right? If they had just raised him properly, given him some love, and so
he said
it was what was the chick that was the head of Vought before Homelander killed her?
The head of Vought. Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So like even in that, there was still no male father figure for him. His one up was
And the line that Soldier Boy said, he is like, they brought you in to move me out of the way, when had they told me about you from the beginning, when the time came, I would have stepped aside for you.
Yeah. Who doesn't want that for their son?
Yeah, who doesn't want that for their son?
I think you're right. I think that would have been
But the funny thing about it is, if you look at his character, he wouldn't have.
I disagree. To a certain day. I think
because
I don't think I agree with you. I don't think he would.
I don't think he would have, because when when Homelander introduces him to Ryan, and he's like, "This is your grandson. We're your family," and he's just like, "You disgust me.
Yeah.
You're pathetic." Yeah.
Because you're pathetic now, but if you look at the parallel between them and like Homelander and Ryan, Homelander wants Ryan to be him. So I think that comparison would hold up because Homelander, I think, is going to raise Ryan to be better. Be like, I will step aside for you to be there. Might be a father-son duo type thing, but he will let Ryan rise to the power if Ryan chooses to.
Yeah.
So I would disagree on that part, but yeah.
I just think Soulja Boy is very much politically more, you know what I'm saying, in tune than Homelander is anyway, being that the way he was brought up and everything. So like I said, I think him saying that shit was just politics. It was just him knowing how to play the game. You know what I mean?
That makes sense, yeah.
You know? But
fair. Final thoughts?
Yeah. I totally loved it. If you haven't checked it out, man, seasons 1 through 3 on Amazon Video, definitely check it out.
And watch Diabolical as well. It's a mini-series, animated. The only episode that actually connects is the last episode, but they're all very good. So, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Brandon, for joining us. It was
Anytime.
an absolute pleasure, man.
For sure.
Cool.
You got any final thoughts?
I loved it. I love The Boys as a series so far. I'm loosely familiar with the comics, but the show has been great.
Yeah.
The show has been really good.
All right. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Keep tuning in. We've got more content coming down the pipeline. A lot more stuff to review. So we'll catch you next time.
If you like our videos, please subscribe and hit the like button.